Hello out there. Good afternoon and welcome to Fire Service TV. This is the Studios B of the Ghana National Fire Service TV, coming to you live from our headquarters in Accra. This is the Fire Service in Focus program. This program has been tailored with you in mind. This is where we discuss everything relating to the modus operandi of fire service. This is where you get to understand what we do as an organization. Last week, we began with a conversation where the Tema Regional Fire Command was brought up here to tell us what's happening in her region. And as you all know, we couldn't end the discussion. So today we'll wrap it up and then look at one other topic which is really affecting our operations. That is of late we are having issues with fire trucks getting or involving in accidents, crashing on the road, injuring our firefighters, and then putting their lives at risk. We'll be looking at what are the causes of these road crashes, and then also look at ways of mitigating them, the measures management is putting in place to deal with such road crashes. So I believe today's program is power-packed, and we believe you are going to stay put till the end of the program. But before I go for a short break, there is this segment that we've coined Let's Talk. Quite recently we made a post on social media, across our social media handles, where we were trying to assert to the fact that government is doing its best to retool the Ghana National Fire Service. But as a people, what can we also do to augment what government is doing? And that is giving us varied reactions. Some are encouraging us to do one or two. Others are also in their usual self insulting us. The issue is that you can insult us to whatever degree that you want to, but we need the support of everyone. Every Ghanaian support is needed here, so as to be able to, because our emergency services does not go to government alone. It affects every one of us. So whatever you can do, if it is education that you have to give ear to us, why not do so? If you are also in the position to kind of buy a pickup or any other equipment that can help us to serve your interests, why not? So in as much as government is doing its best to retool us, it also behoves on you to also help us in whatever capacity possible, so that together we can work. We are doing our best. Just support us so that we can serve you better. We'll go for a short break. When we come, I will introduce my guest, and then we will continue with the discussion.
I came across power safety technology. So I introduced that into our residents, who are more than 4,000. And over the period, they have testified how power safety technology have saved them when the need arises.
Power safety. Safety is our hallmark.
Welcome back, our cherished viewers. We are live on Fire Service TV, and the program is Fire Service in Focus. This is the only show that focuses on what we do as an organization. Today we are here to discuss and to wrap up with the conversation that we started last week, where we focused on Tema Regional Command, where a lot of things were brought to bear. And today, we would also start another conversation that borders on the recent fire tender or fire engine crashes. What does it lead to? And then also what management is doing to curb such occurrences. So with me in the studios to do the discussion, our very own ACFO1, Doris Lamptey, who happens to be the Tema Regional Commander. Madam, you are welcome.
Thank you.
I also have with me in the studios my very own boss, the Director responsible for public relations in the person of ACFO1, Timothy Osafuafum. So you are welcome.
My pleasure.
Right. I will start off with Tema Region, as the saying popularly goes, ladies first. So we'll start with RFO for Tema. So last week, you made us understand a lot of fires that occur within the slum community. We want to know, I think the viewers are also interested in knowing the collaboration between you and such communities, what you are doing in such fire-prone areas to curb the incidents of fire, because we know that people who normally reside in these slums are low-income earners. They hardly, they do menial jobs, and then also do not put up proper structures to lay their heads. So when it happens, it really affects their lives and affects their livelihoods as well. So as a command, we want to know what you are doing to curb these fires in such areas.
Okay. Thank you very much. In fact, in the Tema region, when we talk about the slum areas, like I rightly indicated last week, the fire-prone areas are Ashaman and Kasapreko, where we have most of these wooden structures and these slums. So what we are doing in the Tema region, we think that, these slum areas, like you said, low-income people live there in wooden structures. And there are all kinds of behaviors and activities that go on over there. So we have intensified our fire safety campaign in those areas, because we feel that we need to get closer to the community, because a fire in any of those communities could spread very fast. So we are always doing fire safety campaign over there. And then also what we have put in place in those areas, not just those areas, but the Tema region itself. For the first time, we are having public safety education in all the schools in the region. And we started from the Tema West region because it's a fire-prone area. And we are almost done. Every school in the Tema West district has been catered for. We believe when we do that, the kids will definitely go to school. No matter how low your income is, your child will go to school. So when we get to the schools and we educate them over there, at least the child can come home knowing something about fire safety and prevention. So at least can advise the parents when they see them doing the wrong thing. And then also we have the stickers that have the fire safety tips on them, and all over the places we have stick them on their buildings, so that at least you would read something and know what to do in case of an emergency. Because you realize that most of the time in the slum areas, when there's an incident, they try to put off the fires themselves. They would only come in to call the fire service when it gets out of hand. And we have told them that don't wait for it to get out of hand. the moment you see a fire, no matter how minute it is, please don't hesitate to call the fire service, because even when we get there and the fire is out, we will do our investigation and get to know where the fire started, and at least advise you on what to do in case of such an eventuality. And we believe that by so doing, it will help us to curb the fires in the Tema region, especially the slum areas.
All right.
So that's what we're doing.
Thank you so much, viewers. We want to remind you that this program, apart from being live on the Fire Service TV, we are also beaming live on our social media handles. You can search for us at GNFS Official, at GNFS Official on Facebook, on X, on TikTok, and all the other social media platforms. There is also a number, the WhatsApp number on the screen. Just tell us where you are watching us from, and then send in your comments. And at the appropriate time, we will read them. And then if there are questions as well, we would answer. As the program goes on, we would open the phone line. So we would announce the phone lines later on, so that you can also come in and share your comments and ask your questions. And my panelists will be glad to help us to understand. So, Madam, you made us understand that you are doing your best to work with all the opinion leaders, the people who matter in these slum communities, so as to be able to educate the residents to put their houses in order to prevent these fires from occurring. We want to know, my listeners and my viewers would also want to know some of the innovation, and then also some of the strategies that you have laid up to be able to bring down these fires. Because we know, as you've already indicated, the Kasapreko areas and the Ashaiman areas, we don't think that the slum communities are going to go off or die out any moment from now. So they want to understand what different thing you are doing to be able to get the message down to them. You made mention of the schools, the lorry parks, and what have you. If you can enlighten us more on some of the strategies, the measures to be able to deal with or to send the message down.
Okay, so thank you. Right now, we realize that the most important thing is we need to get some fire stations for the purposes of proximity, because like I said, a fire in the slum area, because of its nature being wooden, the spread is very fast. So for instance, Kasapreko, we have gotten in touch with the chief of the area, because Klagon is very close to Kasapreko, and he is actually supporting the Tema Command to put up a fire station, so that the distance between where we have our current fire station and all other places within the area should be closer. And in that doing too, it helps us with our response time, because an outbreak of fire somewhere, that would take us like 10 minutes. If we have a fire station closer, it will take like maximum 2 to 4 minutes. And by so doing, it can prevent the fire from escalating. That is one of the key things we are doing. And not just in Kasapreko. We have the free zones enclave too, which is an industrial area. And that too, we have come to talk in terms with LMI. It's a company around the free zones area, who is also supporting the Tema Command to put up a fire station, which is closer to the industrial area. Even though we have a fire station there, but for purposes of proximity, we are still putting up another one. And for that one, I would say it's about 90-95% complete. They are just left with a few things for the fire service to take over from them. And then I will still hammer on the fire safety education campaign, which has been intensified. We are doing a door-to-door education. We are going to the lorry parks. We are going to the schools, like I rightly said, and we are visiting all the industries, because fire safety is a shared responsibility. When they are able to get the message we are sending out, I believe it will help us to educate someone and keep the fires there.
Thank you, madam. So viewers, as you heard from the Tema Regional Commander, ACFO1 Doris Lamte, they are very much on the ground. They are just not looking at curbing the fire incidents in these slum communities, but also in other communities. So their target areas have been to the schools, to the churches, to the lorry parks, where a lot of these local people congregate or conduct their businesses, and they are seeking not to just speak to their minds, but to get the message right to their hearts, so that they can inform behavioral changes, so that the fires will be nipped in the bud. So ACFO1 Afum, we have experienced some fire truck incidents where these trucks have been damaged, some to the extent of beyond repairs, where most of our riding crew or the responding crew have been badly affected, where the service have also spent a lot of financial resources in ensuring that the injured rescuers or firefighters get back to their normal health. How dire is this situation in the service in recent times?
Thank you very much. I would say one is too much. Too much because in this critical point in time, we do not even have the appliances to spare. And therefore, if one is taken out of the system, it impinges negatively on our performance and operations. What is happening is that, as at now, we have very few fire stations widely spaced. And so, if one is taken out, then it puts pressure on the other stations that are in commission. What happens is that then we have to travel longer distances before we get to incident scenes. You also recognize that people normally accuse us for arriving late to incident scenes, but most of them, you cannot blame the fire service. It is simply because we have stations that are wide apart, and so we have to travel long distances before we get to incident scenes. Then also, the stations are wide apart, as I said. And then the second factor is that the appliances are getting older, and therefore the speed at which we should be moving, we are unable to get that speed to move. The last aspect I want to talk about is the fact that other road users always impede the movement of the fire trucks. As some are rightly giving way, others are also taking the opportunity to go ahead of us, because a way have been paved for the fire trucks to respond to the emergency that they are responding to. And so we as a people, like you earlier indicated, need attitudinal change. We need to rehaul our attitude towards emergencies. It is not only the fire service, but all emergencies. People complain that some of the cars are not emergency vehicles. It is not for you to determine which one is emergency or not. Yours is, once you hear the siren, just pull to your right for the emergency vehicle to pass. That is what is expected of all of us. Now, other implication is that it puts stress on our limited resources, simply because, look, if you have about 3 cases in a day and you have to travel like 45 kilometers each of them, you know the quantum of fuel you spend and the stress and strain that will put on our personnel, as well as the aging fire trucks. These are all factors that impede on our appliances, considering issues when it comes to our trucks getting involved in road crashes. There is also the fact that if I should use the Kade incident for instance, even though that servicing on that appliance was done not quite long ago, the vehicle developed a mechanical problem, and that is what caused the accident. So if the vehicles are aging, we need to quickly fix them by changing and getting new and modern ones. That will help. I don't think if we had a new truck, what happened would happen, even though it's a machine and anything can happen. That is how come that we serviced it not quite long ago and that problem surfaced, which resulted in the accident.
Thank you, sir. Whilst you were giving the submission, I was taken aback with the fact that you were alluding to the fact that the fire engines have become, or they are becoming old. I don't know, how old are they? And then how is their age contributing to some of these accidents? I will come for the answer. But before that, let me announce that this program is beaming live on the Fire Service TV at our national headquarters in Accra, and then also being carried live on our social media platforms. There is a number on the screen and even on our social media platform where you can send in your comments and your questions, and we'll be glad to answer you. ACFO Doris Lamte, we want to understand, many a times the public that we serve accuse us of arriving late to emergencies. Are they justified? And if they are justified or otherwise, have you been experiencing this kind of usual cliche in your region, and how are you dealing with it?
Okay, thank you. I wouldn't say they are justified, but like Esiafum rightly said, the distance between some of the fire stations and where the incident sometimes happens, sometimes it's a bit of a distance. But then, on the other hand, when there are fires, people in their own way try to extinguish it, so that if they are not able to do it and it gets out of hand, then they will call the fire service. And maybe when the fire started small, it was not showing outside, so nobody knows there was a fire in the house. But the moment it gets out of hand, that is where you see the thick smoke and the flames. That is where everybody will see it. The public does not know that whoever had the incident did not call the fire service on time. So the delay in calling the fire service and the rate at which the fire was spread, when we get there, they claim that we have not been there on time. But that is not the case, because we always try to bring down our response time. For Tema, the nearest or the farthest that we can get to meet our response time is like 9 to 10 minutes. Yes. That is the closest. So, like I was saying, proximity is very, very important. That is why we are getting more fire stations. But the public is not justified. The last week I said that the public does not seem to understand our job. Because for us, when you call us, we don't spend a minute at the station to move out of the place. But then because you have waited for the fire to get out of hand, when we get there, it is assumed we have come late. And then also, they do not call the right emergency line, or they don't call the fire service, because sometimes you get there and people are like, why have you delayed? You ask the person, what number did you call? You realize that the person will mention a number that is nowhere near the fire service emergency line. But everybody standing there is seeing the person making a call to assume that they have gotten in touch with the fire service. Unfortunately, they haven't called the fire service. They will call other lines and will not get us. And sometimes you realize that at the end of the day, somebody has to run to the station, and you look at the distance from which the person is coming from to the station to inform us before we move to the fire ground. It's a delay. So I don't think they are justified to say that we get there on time. I will use this opportunity to advise the public that they should know that the fire service is there working for God and country. The reason why we are there is to ensure that the fires are prevented. And if they are not prevented, and in case they happen, fire service is there to perform on its mandates. So we will not deliberately delay to get to fire service.
Thank you so much, Madam. Viewers, as you've heard from the Tema Regional Commander, we will not deliberately waste time when you beckon on us for help. The one thing that she said that I also share is that this particular program has come to bridge the gap between the usual lack of knowledge about modus operandi in the public sector, so as to be able to bring you up to speed as to what we do. We have always said we are prepared to serve your interests. Your interest is that we are poised to give you the education that will give you knowledge as to how to put your house in order to prevent fires and related emergencies. So it is up to you to also avail yourself and to ensure that you would also help our cause. Can you help us understand some of the causative factors that lead to this fire truck accidents?
Right, so a few factors comes into play here. One is the road condition. The road conditions on some of our major roads are in bad taste or are in bad form, and therefore if you are responding and if you don't take time, by the time you realize you have hit into a huge pothole that may veer the steer into an area that is unpalatable. So that is one. Two is human factor. When I say human factor, I am talking about our limited drivers that we have in the system. We have limited driver in the sense that when you go to some stations, they just have 2 drivers operating. Meanwhile, the actual crew, the firefighters, you have them in 4 groups. That is shifts. We call it red, yellow, blue, and white or green, depending on the station. So you see a driver maybe being at the station for 2 weeks before he's changed. The situation becomes aggravated when one driver becomes ill or sick. Then it means the other one remaining will have to stay on forever until the other colleague gets well before he can come and relieve him to go home. So this is also another factor. I will not say training is a factor, because we recently trained all drivers in the system on defensive driving and how to respond appropriately to emergency calls. So training is not a factor. The factors are what I have said. And then we also need to motivate them a bit, in the sense that, yes, all firefighters are firefighters, but where you have 2 drivers responsible for a whole station, then we need some motivation in there. And because there is no extra motivation coming to such drivers, they become fatigued. Even if there is motivation, you see, you shouldn't go beyond a certain limit. The human body has how long it can work, and once it has been exhausted, it has to rest so that it will renew its strength for another day. So these are basically the reasons why we are experiencing what we are experiencing.
All right, sir. What about weather condition? And sometimes, during certain months of the year, you would find out that the weather changes and visibility becomes poorer as you drive. So is it also a contributing factor to some of these crashes?
As far as I am concerned, and I know, I've not come across any situation where, because of the weather, a fire truck has been involved in an accident. Yes, I think what you have brought to mind is the other road users. Sometimes you get to a junction, and before you can enter into the main road, somebody will cross you deliberately. Well, I can't say deliberately or not, but the fact is that once you hear the emergency lights, or you see the emergency lights and you hear the siren, it is for you to stop, allow the fire or the emergency appliance to pass before you can continue with your journey. And so other road users who also cross or veer into the lane of the fire trucks is also another reason why we experience some of these incidents.
Yeah, so earlier on, sir, you suggested to the fact that our fleet of vehicles are becoming old, and therefore the way they used to function, it is not the same as it is now. Can we say what is the effect of the age factor on these appliances? And then 2, how well are these vehicles maintained to warrant that some of these crashes are not as a result of mechanical failures?
Right, so for maintenance, we have been doing very well when it comes to maintenance. I can bet you that any or almost every money that comes into the service now is diverted to maintain the fire trucks, because they are aging. They frequently break down, but as soon as they break down, they are fixed. If you should see any fire tender that has not been fixed over a period, then it means the part that is broken down is not available, and then we are importing it to come. Because fire tenders are specialized equipment, you cannot get the spare parts on the market. Some of them, if you see them delaying like that, it means we have gotten in touch with the manufacturers who are now manufacturing the part for us. So that one may take a bit of a time. Outside that, we promptly repair and maintain all fire trucks, because 1, they carry human beings, and if you don't maintain them, then it may happen like what happened in Akwatia, and we may be losing our personnel. And then 2 is that apart from the personnel, we will also be losing our vehicles. Already I've told you we have limited appliances in the system. So we don't sit down for one to break down for a long time before we repair them. Then again, if we don't even have the parts in town, what the system we have put in place is that we ask another station that is close by to be responsible for that area. Even if we realize that where the fire tender is broken down, the risk is very high, then we pull the appliance from the less risk area to the higher risk area, so that in case of any emergency, we'll be able to respond quickly.
Thank you so much. So viewers, we will take a short break. When we come, we'll read some of the comments that have come in. We would also want to encourage you to send in your questions, your comments on to the number on your screens. And then also those of us joining us on Facebook and on our other social media platform, kindly share the links to that this program to your friends so that they can also pass it on for a lot more to get to watch this important discussion, because this discussion is about our livelihoods. It's about how we would understand how the fire service operates in order to give them the needed support for them to be able to serve our interest. We go for a short break. Please do not go anywhere. Stick and stay with us. We'll be right back.
I came across power safety technology. So I introduced that into our residents, who are more than 4,000. And over the period, they have testified how power safety technology have saved them when the need arises.
Power safety. Safety is our hallmark.
Thank you, our cherished viewers. Welcome back. This is Fire Service in Focus. This is a program that has been tailored with you in mind. This is where we talk about everything pertaining to our operations so that you can understand how we operate so as to give us the needed support. Many a times people just are found of insulting the fire officers of the fire service in general for no apparent reason. It is all because you don't understand how we operate. And this program has come in handy, or it has come in time, so as to help us with the needed resources in terms of the knowledge base to be able to understand what we do as a service. I have the Tema Regional Commander still here with me, and I'm going to ask her, Madam, we know that you have one of the key stations in your region that is rightly situated along the Tema motorway stretch, and they are known for responding to road crashes and other related emergencies. How would you respond to this question? Our viewers are poised to hear you out. How are you ensuring that this fire station is well equipped, and then also to be able to save more lives anytime there are road crashes? along especially the Tema motorway?
Thank you. Tema motorway is very close to the motorway, and the appliance is well equipped when it comes to road traffic incident equipment. Just recently, management has beefed up the equipment for road traffic because it is the area it occupies is very strategic, and you realize that most accidents are on the motorway. So the equipment they have recently, management is very, very serious when it comes to the accidents on the road. We're trying so hard to prevent some of these accidents, but in case they should happen, the Tema Motorway Fire Station is poised. The Tema Motorway Fire Station has the equipment, they have the men to be at the rescue of the men who are trapped in fires. You know, for the fire service, we are always there when somebody is trapped in case of an accident. And so our kata is working. All other RTC equipments are very new and we are ready to work on the Tema motorway. We try so hard to make sure that when we are called, our men are there to ensure that any trapped victim in a car or a truck is taken out. And the distance between the fire station and the motorway is not too far. But the problem has always been that when it happens like this, the cars, even though they hear the siren, would not give us the way to go. So we'd want to plead with them. When you hear the siren, please move to the right or to the left to pave way for us. It might happen that if you do not know, it could be a family of yours, it could be somebody you may know. So when you prevent us from getting there, then you must know that in case of any eventuality, it will affect you too. That has always been our challenge. But for our men and the equipment, we are ever ready to ensure that accidents on the Tema motorway are dealt with.
Thank you so much. The reassurance is that the Tema motorway station is well equipped, the men are well trained, and at the beacon of our services, especially on that stretch, and whenever there is any road crash, we'll be there to save lives and to salvage property. Madam, can you also help us to understand the status of your fire engines? Which ones are out of commission as at now, and which ones, what are the efforts being put in place to bring them back? Last week, you alluded to the fact that that of Dodua was the only tender which needed repairs. So what is the current state?
Thank you. Dodua Fire Appliance has a major problem. The problem with the Dodua Appliance is the engine. And ACF said, if we don't have the parts in the country, we go out to import. And like he said, they are specialized engine, and for that matter, you hardly will get the parts here. So the engine of the Dodua Appliance has been imported. Management has taken it up. It has been imported, and we are expecting that anytime soon, if it arrives in the country, we will fix it. We have Katamansu. Even though Dodua Appliance is out of commission, Katamansu Fire Station, which is close to Dodua, is serving the environs of Dodua. So it doesn't mean that Dodua has no fire cover. Katamansu is there to support. When it gets to the Shire Hills, Bechley Fire Station is also there to augment support for them. So we are hoping that it wouldn't take long for the engine to be brought down for us to fix that appliance. Very soon, we want to ensure the Dodowa and those in the environs that very soon the appliance will be in commission. That notwithstanding, we are still at their beck and call. When they call us, we will ensure that we have an appliance to help them extinguish fires in the Dodowa area.
So for those of you who have been asking us, what is management doing to fix the Dodowa tender? That is a major fault. Management has imported the engine, and very soon it will be in the country so that that particular track will be fixed. But notwithstanding, Bechele and then Katamanto are also just around the enclave to respond to any emergency that may come in that area. So, madam, what has been the collaboration between your command and some key stakeholders like Ghana Water and some of the assemblies? We know that the assembly, they have a stake in ensuring that the fire stations keep running. Ghana Water has a responsibility to ensure that we have constant water flowing through the hydrant at desired pressure. Has the collaboration been better in your region?
Okay, so for the collaboration between our command, that is TEMA, and the Ghana Water Company is very, very, very cordial. Anytime we call on them, they are there. Even as we speak, the Ghana Water Company was at the regional fire headquarters trying to work on our hydrants, which are the problem. And all other stations too, we have a very good collaboration with Ghana Water Company, as well as the assemblies. The assemblies themselves know that they have to work hand in hand with us when it comes to fire prevention to save lives and properties. Anytime we call on them, because when it comes to fire safety, we have a good rapport with the assemblies. If you want to put up a building and it requires that you need to have a fire permit before you put it up, the assembly will get to the command and inform us. They would not go ahead to give approval to your property. And I think with that, it is really, really helping us in the region so that we wouldn't have buildings collapsing in any way or form. So for the assemblies, they are also supporting. For the chiefs, the traditional authorities, yes, I can say they are also helping us. Like I rightly mentioned, Klagon, the chief of Klagon, is supporting the fire service to put up a fire station, which will also help to prevent fires in that enclave. And then also when we go to Pram too, they also, the assembly, the traditional rulers are also helping us to put up a fire station within the Pram locality, which is about 95% complete. And that is also going to augment the stations in the Tema region so that it will help us not to travel long journeys to fight fires. So we are really working hand in hand with all our stakeholders to ensure that if we cannot eradicate fires from the region, at least minimize the fires to its lowest minimum to help us keep the fires in the region.
Thank you so much, madam. If you are now joining us, this is Fire Service in Focus, coming to you live on Fire Service TV and then across our social media handles at GNFS Official. The telephone number is 050-960-8744. You can now call in and then ask your question. But whilst we await your calls, let me find out from madam, how would you want to leave Tema? How do you want Tema, your legacies in Tema region? How do you want your name to be mentioned? Because already people know you to be Yasantua can-do woman. So how do you want to leave Tema region as you met it?
Thank you. In fact, I would want to leave Tema region to see the region having more fire stations. That is a key challenge because the stations are scattered and it affects our response time. So I'm looking at a Tema region. For now, we have about 13 fire stations, and we are hoping that before I leave the Tema region, at least, if not at all, at least we should have about 20. So we are looking at having about 7 more fire stations in the Tema region before I leave. And then having a well-disciplined command, which I have already started. We are almost there, and I believe before I leave, I'm sure the Tema region will have a more disciplined personnel in the region. And the Tema region, I also want to see we have enough space at the regional headquarters, and I want to see that at least we'll put the space to good use so that we can get a very good modern regional command, so that we'll have enough office spaces, which is a challenge for us now, but we are working towards it. I would want to see Tema region, if not the best in the country, one of the best in the country before I leave the region.
Thank you so much. So your people who are listening to you from your command, this is the vision of your madam, your commander, who wants to leave a legacy that is unparalleled. Modern office, accommodation space, good working environment, a disciplined command, as well as more stations established to reduce the travel distances and all that. And this can only be the vision of a Yasantua. And indeed, we pray to Almighty God that He gives her the strength to be able to accomplish all that. ACF Wafum, what is management doing to ensure that the recent fire truck accident, which is creating a lot more harm than good, is nipped in the bud?
Right, thank you. So there are 3 things that management is doing. One is the recruitment of more drivers to augment what we already have in the system. 2 is retraining for all drivers in the system. You know, trainings are conducted at short intervals. If you waste time, or it takes a very long time for another training to happen, then people becomes rusty. For your information, all the new cars that are coming operates differently from the old ones that are in the system, because we now have state-of-the-art equipment, and therefore there should be regular training for these drivers. Then again, the last one is new vehicles, state-of-the-art vehicles that we are working with government to bring in.
Not to cut you, but we want to announce the phone numbers again. The number is 050-960-8744. 050-960-8744. You can join us now via the telephone and call in and then ask your questions, and then we'll be glad to assist you. We have a few comments on Facebook that we want to read. Rev Obofo, Prophetic Mafia, Nana Kofi, the Morphis, and 18 others are watching us live on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. Safe House Initiative says We have worked with her few times and can testify that Madam is doing a great job. Keep it up. This is Tuya Santua of Tema region. Paulina Anyavi also says, the woman with vision, keep doing the good work. God bless you. That is to Madam. Pascal also says, Madam is such a great and affable regional commander. That is good one there. Thank you. Seval says, kudos to CFO and the entire PR department. Always glad to work with you. Thank you, Seval's initiative. We are also glad to be working with you. Usikeni Chirame also says, do you have comprehensive insurance for all fire tenders? Do you have comprehensive insurance for all fire tenders? We would answer you. Usikeni Joseph Okwan also says, great work done by GNFS. God bless you all. Amen. And God bless you too. Usikeni Chirame also says that, oh, okay. Do you have comprehensive insurance on the fire tender and personnel on board? So this is in respect of the tender, and then it's riding personnel. Emmanuel Beidou also says, kudos for such insightful thoughts. Thank you for joining us, Ima. Missy Albert Akusia Odame Jainti, Baba Sule, Dan Cobb, Harpreet Singh, Daniel Boache, Kofi Hodgson, Andrew Omale, Mawena Agbaka Agbe, Tete Asase, Nana Ado Boabeng. They are also watching us. Rock Asare, watching you from Canada. You guys are doing a great job for Mother Ghana. Thank you, Rock Asare, who is joining us from Canada. Simon Ejay Buama, Mary Educhumwa, Hajia Siam, Cheutuwuni, Apia Paul, Eunice Esel, SK Ameko, Abdullah Dagara, Charles Omane, and a host of others are also joining us live. Emmanuel Bedu also says, good afternoon, sir. Please, my question is, why not rescue vehicle not part of presidential convoy? Why do we not have any of our vehicles on the convoy of the president? Thank you. Ima, we would also answer you that. Isaac Foley also says, keep up the good work, GNFS. Isaac, thank you for joining us. This one is also coming from Boating Isaac Ajekum. Please try to speak Twi. Oh, Isaac, this is unfortunately an English version of the fire service in focus. Maybe at a later time we will do the Twi version. Pascal also says, Boating Isaac Ajekum, try and listen on Wednesdays for the Twi edition of this program. Okay, that is the safety matters in Twi. Rock Asari says, please, we need a WhatsApp number so we can call. Watching you live from Canada. The WhatsApp number has always been on your screen. So if you want to call, this is the appropriate time for you to call. So, ACF Wafum, somebody is asking, why is it that we don't have, let's say, a quick intervention vehicle on the presidential convoy? And then also, do we have our fire trucks insured as well as its personnel?
So, with the presidential convoy, there's a national security team that assesses what vehicles are supposed to accompany the president when he is moving. For now, they have not found the need for a rescue intervention vehicle to be accompanying the president in and out of his journeys. But I think it's a genuine observation they have made. We shouldn't allow things to happen before we will say, oh, if we had known. If anyone from national security is listening or watching, it is time for them to act quickly. I don't remember anybody. Let's cast our minds back to President Kufuor's time when a road user crossed him and we nearly had a disaster in the country. So it is about time we consider that. Now on the issue of whether we have insurance on our personnel or on the fire trucks, my simple answer is, for now, no. We do not have any insurance for fire tenders or any of our vehicles and the personnel on board. Knowing this, management has instituted personal insurance for all personnel, where the personnel themselves contribute towards their insurance, so that in the event of any emergency, this insurance can cover personnel. But you see, our job is a sacrificial job. It is not the firefighter who should contribute towards his insurance. It is the state, you and me, who have to come together and contribute towards the insurance of the firefighter, so that the firefighter will know that if I go and even risk my life, there is something that will come back to my family. But as it is now, the firefighters themselves are contributing towards their insurance. I don't think it's the best for us as an institution and as a state. It means we are not serious when it comes to issues of safety. These are the men who risk their lives for others. And so the least we can do for them is to get them an insurance, a very good insurance package, so that if any of them should get hurt or pay pay the ultimate price, then we know that we can properly cater for them.
Thank you so much. All too soon, this is where we'll be drawing the curtains for today's program. But before we go, Madam, your last words.
Okay, my last words. I would want to encourage the public. It seems they do not understand the work of the Ghana National Fire Service. The doors of Tema Command is opened 24/7. If you think there is something that you do not understand by the fire service, please don't hesitate to knock on our doors. Then also, I would want to inform them, in your residence, in your office, wherever you find yourself, in case you see fire, please immediately call the Ghana National Fire Service. Even if you have an extinguisher you would want to use, whilst using it, let somebody call the fire service. You will pay nothing for the fire service coming to your aid. We save life and property, and like I said, we are working for God and country. Then finally, when you hear the sirens, please, it's an emergency, please give way to the Ghana National Fire Service, so that we will not delay in getting to the fire scene to extinguish the fire. We are always there for them. Fire safety is a shared responsibility. We are doing our part. We plead with the public to do their part to save Mother Ghana from the ravages of fire. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. ACF Afum, your final words.
My final words are very simple. Government has done his part, and he continued to do his part. But it has come to a point where we need the support and cooperation of the general public. 2, 3, 4, 5 companies can come together, buy a fire tender for their area if the fire tender is broken down, and it is taking time for us to repair them. Like I indicated, these equipments are aging, and therefore they break down frequently. We need your support, because we know you can do it. And therefore, look at the other side, look at us, and come in to support us, and we'll be of use to you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Well, viewers, this is where we draw the curtains on today's program, Fire Service in Focus. This has always been a program that has been tailored to bring you up to speed about the modus operandi of the Ghana National Fire Service. Now that you know that there is no fire vehicle among the presidential convoy, and then the firefighter has not gotten any comprehensive insurance for his life, should he pay the ultimate price of losing his or her life, and then also the vehicle is not insured, this should also encourage you not to be insulting the firefighter, but to provide the needed logistics and encouragement to them so that they can work for your own interests. Don't think that the fires are far from you. Don't think that the road crashes are far from you. Ensure that you speak to whoever is in power. We know government has heard us, and very soon they are going to help us. But add your voice so that the Ghana National Fire Service will be retooled with modern state-of-the-art equipment so that we can serve you. Same time next week, join us for another insightful program. Thank you for watching us today.